Welcome back to my channel where I tell you what I would do differently if I was the creator of TV shows and movies. And today we are rewriting School Spirit Episode 1. The episode starts off exactly the same, where we see a school assembly and learn that Maddie has gone missing. We get introduced to another ghost named Charlie. They walk down the hall as Charlie tells her not to make any sense of it. The scene will be pretty much the same there. They would see the students bouncing the basketball. Everything would pretty much play out the same there. But when the teacher confronts them, they will toss it to him instead of rolling it, and that's where we'll get the scene of her flinching and Charlie saying that the one perk of being dead is that they can't get hurt. We then get the scene with Nicole as Maddie tries to get her attention, but she doesn't see her. And then Maddie gets told about the meeting and decide to go. We still get the dialogue about her asking if they're playing basketballs now, and then he says, "Leave the sports to the living kids." The scene at the meeting will play out pretty much the same. She'll introduce herself to the group. She'll find out it's not normal not to know what happened to her, and then she would freak out. That'll all pretty much be the same, and it will be a bit more than in the show of her freaking out. And then we would get the flashback between Maddie and Xavier. Madison and Xavier make fun of the cheerleaders, and then we will meet Simon, and it'll pretty much be the same as they discuss original versus reboot, where they're talking about Carrie. Everything will play out the same as they talk about going to see Night of the Living Dead. Maddie asked if it's okay for bringing Xavier, and they discussed how he doesn't like horror movies. She said that she thought it would be fun because he never seen it. And then we would get a little discussion about their relationship, which will add more context to the relationship, and that we never got on the show. And the scene will continue as actually did as they see the guy in the costume. We hear about Maddie's mom and how she's showing up just like in the actual show. There's still the joke about them throwing a party, and there's only 3 friends in the group, so they invite the other one, Nicole, and then that scene pretty much plays out the same. We get the same scene where the teacher tells them that they are late. Maddie and Simon walk into the class as Nicole walks to her class. Maddie asks to be excused, and she lies saying she has to go to the bathroom, but the real reason is she saw Xavier skipping class to go to his car. It will pretty much be the same as they talk for a minute. He says that his phone was dead. Maddie sees that Xavier has a vape in his car. That all plays out the same. She goes back inside. She found out he'd lying about going out there to charge his phone. And then we would have Xavier walk out before it was cut to present day. We see her watching Xavier, and that all plays out the same. We learn about a girl named Janet that passed on, and then we learn about another ghost named Dawn that has just wandered aimlessly around. And then we get the scene where she tried to rip a missing poster of herself down, and she can't because she's a ghost, so she can't affect the living world. Charlie shows her the marching band and explained what happened to them, about how they crashed and several of them died and became ghosts, aimlessly continuing to perform. We see the same scene as in the actual show where Simon is in the classroom. There's an argument. Xavier tried to leave, and then we find out that he had Maddie's phone. Xavier will go to the principal's office, and that scene will play out pretty much the same, and we would have the conversation between Maddie and Charlie. We would then get the other flashback between Maddie and Xavier in the locker room, where after that, when we cut back, we would have the same sort of conversation between Nicole and Simon, but the conversation will be a bit more heated, and then we would get the same scene between Wally and Maddie. We find out how he died. Maddie asked Wally if he was missing anything when he came here, because she didn't have her phone or bag, and she died with those items. We then get another flashback showing her giving Xavier the tickets, but he says he can't make it. And then Maddie's mom arrives, and at that point, we see Maddie grab her things, but Xavier, when she was distracted seeing her mom through the window, took her phone. Wally says that's probably a good thing that she doesn't remember, because he wishes he could forget some of the things that happened to him. We then get the montage where Maddie keeps on trying to run out of the building and step off the property, but she keeps on getting teleported back to the boiler room, and then the ghost that hasn't said anything tells her that she can't leave. They have a quick conversation. It's pretty much the same. And then Maddie tries once again to leave the building before teleporting back to the boiler room. We then see a little bit of blood on the wall, and we see pretty much the crime scene that we heard about earlier. And then it'll play out pretty much the same as she sees flashes of when she was alive. And then she tried one more time to leave the school before getting teleported right back. She went back to the group. We learned that Rhonda got killed by their guidance counselor. The scene plays out pretty much the same. We get the same thing with Maddie's mom talking to the group that gathered to make aware of her disappearance. A cop asks Xavier about the phone. He says that he was protecting her, and we find out that when in the other flashback, when he was in the car and Maddie approached him and they had that whole scene, he accidentally sent the text that he was sending to the other girl that he was cheating on Maddie with. He accidentally sent to Maddie, and so he was going to delete it. Maddie hears everything as everyone comes out of the gym to go outside. Maddie will follow Nicole and Simon, and then Simon says he needs a minute, and Nicole goes ahead. Simon and the teacher has the conversation that they had in the actual show. Simon breaks down. The teacher says that he could take all the time he needs. She goes ahead with everyone else. Xavier seems to get arrested. Simon looks out the window. Madison walks up behind him, tells him thank you, and then he looks over, actually seeing her, and he is in shock. And that's where I'm going to end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next week. Maybe I might do the second episode. But either way, I'll see you in the next one.